This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey, welcome to Lemon's Car Spotting on the 24 Hours of Lemons YouTube channel. I am Eric. That's Nick in the other window over there. And we're going to talk about cars that you have spotted on the street. It's pretty simple here. You see an interesting car while you're out and about, take a picture, tag it on Instagram with hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting, and we'll make fun of it. We'll make fun of each other. We'll make fun of ourselves, and we'll definitely make fun of the car. And then at the end, we will pick the hooptiest, and we will pick the one we want to see built as a Lemons car.
Yeah, and to determine that, one of us will choose the hooptiest, one of us will choose the Lemons build, and I'm going to choose for Eric, and we're going to use our proprietary system. So Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop. This is the Lemons build. This is the hooptiest, and tell me when to stop.
Now, stop.
That is the hooptiest. So I'll be doing the Lemons build this time. And let's get going.
Classic.
Standard of Lemons right there. This is Caddy Record. This is actually where we left off in the previous episode, which may or may not be the previous episode, depending on when we upload these. But in any case, David Mills is the Caddy Wrecker, thus named because he crashed a Cadillac at high speed during the Lemons race at Nelson Ledges. This, of course, is a Volvo 245, which is the wagon version of the 240. And we often say that this is an excellent choice for the first-time Lemons racer.
Yep. Handles reasonably well, makes enough power to be fun, and is built like a Panzer.
Yep. They're surprisingly not super slow. Brakes are okay. And yeah, durable, parts easy to find, etc. Good choice for the first timer and even the returning Lemons racer. Then we've got, oh man, that's pretty sweet.
You know, being around Lemons has reminded me that I'm probably more of a truck guy than I've ever wanted to admit. A single cab long bed like this, it just looks right.
It's
got the wheels are a little much, but
yeah, you know, it does. I mean, the single cab long bed, I mean, depending on what you're doing with the truck, is like the most annoying configuration because, like, yeah, I've got enough room for a machine lathe, but I don't have enough room for a jacket. So, you know, if you're hauling machine lathes all the time, then it's perfect. But otherwise, then it's just huge for no reason. The wheels is the thing that stands out as being not quite right, but somehow I kind of feel like they work. I mean, something about the raised white letters and the sticky outiness. I actually, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I mean, and the other great thing about this is, you know, it's an F-150 that could be a 78 or it could be like a 97.
That's right. That's totally true. Yeah. Ford, I mean, General Motors as well, but something about Ford, like, you know, you get into your 78 van and then you're like, oh yeah, hold on. I got to check the OBD2 on my 2006 van. What the hell? How is this possible? All right.
Back in Panama.
Yeah. That seems like a proper car for Panama. That is a 80 series Land Cruiser, I'm going to say.
That's what it looks like. Yeah. In the comments. I only know that because I'm reading the actual.
I guess I could have done that. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, these are great cars. Big old, the last of the inline six powered Land Cruisers. You know, they get 12 miles to the gallon, go 0 to 60 in 12 seconds, and last for 12 million years. That's the calling
I
card.
love that in the novel of Jurassic Park, instead of Ford Explorers, they used Land Cruisers, which is way more realistic for Central America.
Yeah, absolutely true. And case in point, this one right here is in Panama. All right. Here we go. The bird.
I will confess that I don't know my Firebirds at first sight. This looks like a Trans Am to me?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the difference in the trim packages. Yeah, very well could be a Trans Am. I don't know. It's a 4th gen Firebird, which would have come with V8 wise, either an LT1 or I think later on you could actually get an LS in the sort of later part of the production. This one appears to have this one appears to have T-tops, which I mean, if you're gonna do an F body, you can't stop short and not get the T-tops. I mean, you got to go all in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a masochistic, I should say, part of me that wants like a 3rd gen Firebird with an Iron Duke, because I think the very concept of that is hilarious, but I don't think you can get T-tops on that. So I mean, like, can you really own an F body without having T-tops on it?
I would say no.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Oh man. This is this is from Judge Phil himself, Mr. Murley Martin. This is actually what looks like a really nice Rabbit pickup, or a caddy as it was called in other parts of the world. These are cool cars. I mean, the car truck combo, of which this is one of the smaller examples that were available in this country, is something that all car people say, like, I wish we had, like, why don't they still make an El Camino? Like, bring us the Holden Ute, all of that stuff. And, I'm sure the car companies have determined that all of those people translate to about 4 actual sales, which is why they don't give us these vehicles. But I'm glad that they did at one point. And pretty cool.
Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for these. And I will tell you, and I know I've mentioned this on the various videos we've done, but it's always worth repeating for somebody who maybe hasn't heard me do this spiel. The only imported car I can remember seeing from my youth in the small town I lived in was one of these with a truck topper on it.
Yeah.
It was definitely doing work.
Yeah. They made a truck topper for this. I don't think it was factory. I think that which in a way is more amazing that Snug Top was like, well, boys, we've got a new vehicle. We've got to design a topper for. They're going to sell a ton of these babies. So
there's probably still new old stock of that sitting in North Dakota or wherever the hell that is. They're made.
Yeah. And, I realized that this is like this year I finally put this together. Of course, this is called the Caddy over there in Europe, and also in Europe the Rabbit was called the Golf, and the Caddy is a Golf that carries things. There's a weird, and of course the Golf is not named after golf the sport, it's named after golf the wind. But I don't know, there's something totally like synergistic in that, man. Man, I sound like a dude who should be running vegetable oil in his Volkswagen Caddy. Anywho, let's move on from that.
Oh man, I don't even know what the hell that is.
Is that a Parisienne?
Oh.
Now, famously, the Pontiac Parisienne, which that may or may not actually be, Snoop Dogg. This is a lot of things were happening at once. Snoop Dogg was on the Larry King show showing off his Pontiac Parisienne, which had been turned into a lowrider, which I don't know. Yeah, whoever the producer was who set that up is a genius. And in any case, Larry King was like, hey, Snoop Dogg, like, what kind of car is this? And Snoop Dogg says, oh, Larry, it's that Pontiac Parisienne. And Larry King goes, well, Parisienne, I've never heard of that. So there you go. So from that point forward, it just had to be the Parisienne. Now, is this actually a Parisienne? I really can't tell. It does look like a Pontiac to me, but beyond that, I have no idea.
It either looks like some of the non-Caprice B-bodies or one of like the Granada relatives, a Ford product, maybe with the graded taillights. It's really hard to say. Very
possible. I have no idea.
In any case, this is fantastic Class C material for Lemon.
Absolutely. I also was going to point out that this is the second posts that we've done from Austin Miniman, and the first was some kind of gigantic full-size Buick, and the second one is the Parisiennes. You know, Eric, like you were saying, where Lemons has made you realize you're more of a truck guy than you were willing to admit to yourself. I wonder if Austin Miniman is secretly a gigantic American car enthusiast.
I would say Ted Fort probably is into big American cars as well.
Yeah.
Right. Before we leave the Parisiennes story, it's worth pointing out we've had a Pontiac Parisienne in Lemons that was brought by famous Florida team NSF Racing, and they also cannot pronounce or spell Parisienne because it was registered as the Pontiac Parceline.
I had forgotten about that. Oh man, totally correct. Well, leave it to General Motors marketing once again to just come out with something that nobody can even say, let alone buy. So kudos to them. All right.
To be fair, GM customers have trouble spelling Camaro. So,
yeah,
I mean,
Parisienne
is a big ask.
Also true. Meanwhile,
another one from Phil.
Is that a Mercury Montego?
I believe that it is.
Oh, man. That's pretty excellent.
I wish he'd taken a better nose-on shot because it's hard to describe how big the prow is on these things. Without like an overhead shot.
Well, and just the sort of brutality of the design of the front end. It's huge. It's angular. There's a huge grille. There are these giant staring headlights. I don't know what they were trying to achieve, but it triggers some kind of an animal reaction of like, I need to get away from this thing.
Yeah, run away.
It's some kind of giant, dangerous creature, which is
totally. What they were trying to achieve was probably record-breaking amounts of drugs intook while designing a car.
Yeah, right. Probably so. And next up, oh boy. We're in Panama, and I had to cheat on this one. I'm reading the description. It is a 1960 Nissan Cedric wagon. That's a hell of a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is a part of me that really loves all the Japanese like 3/4 scale homages to like 50s American cars, and they're all really well like designed and proportioned like this.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, at the time, they were viewed as Americans as being kind of ridiculous and small and toy-like, but now you're like, no, actually the Japanese had the size right, and it was the Americans that were making things that were way too humongous. But this is like a full-size whatever Chevy wagon, except not that big. I have never seen one of these. That's a first for
I mean, I don't think Nissan/Datsun was even selling anything in the US in 1960. In fact, I'm sure they weren't.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty cool. Nice find. We're going to stay in Panama for kind of predictably what you would think you would see in a Central American country. This is a 4-door Hilux. Or wait, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And that's a fine machine.
That is a truck that gets shit done.
Yep. That's basically it. And it's got it all going according to the description here. 2.8 non-turbo diesel, manual locking hubs. I mean, this is a truck's truck right here. So that's hard to beat for just a regular driving around car. That's for sure, especially down there in Panama. And lastly, for this week, we're going to stay in Panama. Wow, an AE86 appears to be a Levin. The Levin and the Trueno were the two different versions of this chassis that were available, which I think that was like the phonetic spelling of thunder and lightning. And then the main difference was the Trueno, which is the one that we got, had pop-up headlights, and the Levin had open headlights, which I think this one has. So, I actually had one of these cars, which is maybe why I know so much about them. Yeah, kind of a neat car. Rear drive, available with the twin cam 16 valve motor, and available in coupe or hatchback form.
Man, look at the graphics done on this thing. I mean, that's 1989 all over the place.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We did not get those. We got the twin cam 16 graphics, but we didn't get those. That's pretty excellent.
That may be done themselves, but either way, I mean, that's as rad gets.
Just about. All right. Well, that's the end of the list for this week. It's time to choose our winners. Once again, we choose the Hooptiest and the Lemons car build. Eric, I think you're on the hook for the Hooptiest.
You know, this was a tough week. I mean, nothing was like super like rusted into the ground. You know, this Corolla is looks pretty well used, but you know, going back to your description of the car as provoking an animal instinct that makes you want to run the hell away from it, it's got to be the Mercury Montego. Even if it runs, it is a scary looking, just butcher job of automotive design of the highest order.
Well, and what's amazing is that this one has been not messed with. I mean, it's got like original hubcaps and everything. And like, this is the way it rolled off the showroom floor, which, yeah, it's just a monstrosity, which is why I am also going to choose it as the Lemons build of the week. I mean, we've gotten a lot of big, giant American cars, and they're always just super entertaining. They look great, you know, leaning their way around corners. They never do particularly well in a race. And we always kind of try to qualify recommendations when people say, hey, should I run this giant American car? And we're always like, yeah, but you should know what you're getting into, because they eat their tires, they eat their brakes, they eat their wheel bearings. They're just too big for their own damn good. But from an organizer standpoint, we love seeing people go through that process. And while they're out on track, they look spectacular.
Yeah, the thing about a car like this, and we've seen this before, is like a very first time team showing up to Lemons is probably not going to have an awesome time with this car. But the teams that have like run, I don't know, a BMW or a Honda or something, you know, and that, you know, it's fine, but they want something a little more challenging to drive on a road course. And if there's anything more challenging than driving a 3,800 pound car that with no brakes, that you can't see over the hood, that wants to nuke every single item on it, I mean, that is the driving experience right there.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked to a lot of Lemons people, and some of their greatest Lemons stories and most entertaining weekends have come when they're driving something that doesn't work very well. So I would totally agree with that. And, you know, if you've got a BMW or a Honda, add one of these as a second car. It's not an either or, you know.
It won't take you that much time to transfer from one into the other.
Exactly.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Your raced craft really won't need much adjustment. All right. Well, that covers our episode for this week. As always, keep tagging your Instagram photos with hashtag Lemons Car Spotting. We will review them here. Thanks for contributing, and thanks for watching.
And where is Montego?
I was thinking that you know, the Beach Boys sang about it, didn't they? In you know, Aruba, Jamaica, and all that. Anyway,
I don't think they were singing about this thing.
They were not singing about this car. That's for damn sure.